Have you ever met someone, felt that instant spark, and before you knew it, you were already giving them your time, your energy, and even parts of your heart, while deep down, you weren't sure if they'd earned it yet? If you've ever asked yourself, am I investing too quickly? Being fast isn't the issue. We're human and connection is powerful. The real danger is giving relationship level energy to someone who's only offering casual effort. That imbalance leaves you drained, confused, and questioning your worth. Today, I'm going to share 5 powerful shifts that will protect your heart and help you invest wisely in love. But before we dive in, if you're serious about building the love you deserve, hit that subscribe button, tap the notification bell, and let's grow together. 5K points 1. Separate chemistry from compatibility. When you first meet someone and feel that spark, it can feel like magic. Your heart races. You smile without even realizing it, and the excitement of possibility takes over your thoughts. But here's the truth most people don't like to admit: chemistry doesn't equal compatibility. That electric connection might make you believe you've finally found the one, but feelings don't always reflect reality. Chemistry is a rush, it lights a fire, but if that fire isn't built on something solid, it will burn out. The danger comes when we treat butterflies like proof that someone is right for us. Butterflies only prove attraction. Compatibility, on the other hand, reveals itself through patience, consistency, and how someone actually shows up in your life once the initial high fades. Many women mistake instant chemistry for destiny, as though that spark is fate writing a love story. But think about it. How many times have you had incredible chemistry with someone who turned out to be completely wrong for you? It's not rare, it's common. Chemistry is like a flashy movie trailer. It grabs your attention, excites you, but doesn't guarantee the whole film is worth watching. Compatibility is the substance of the film itself, the story, the depth, the characters that actually keep you engaged. When you chase chemistry alone, you risk falling for the packaging without checking what's inside. The smartest thing you can do is pause and ask, beyond the spark, do our values line up? Does his behavior match my needs? Compatibility reveals itself over time. It's not something you can rush into knowing, no matter how intense the connection feels at first. You learn compatibility when you see how someone handles challenges, communicates during disagreements, or shows up when things aren't exciting anymore. Anyone can be charming on date 1, but who are they when they're tired, stressed, or frustrated? That's where the truth comes out. Butterflies don't answer those questions, consistency does. And that's why it's so important to slow down. Take the time to observe how someone invests, whether they follow through, and if they're emotionally available to actually build something real with you. Another trap people fall into is excusing red flags because of chemistry. You think, but we have such an amazing connection, maybe I'm overthinking this flaw. No, you're not. Chemistry can blind you to behavior that should never be ignored. If he's inconsistent, dismissive of your feelings, or avoids accountability, no amount of butterflies should make you overlook that. A spark is exciting, but you need more than excitement. You need emotional safety. True compatibility means you can trust that person to handle your heart with care. Without that, the spark is just a distraction, keeping you hooked on the highs while quietly draining your peace. What women often forget is that they are the chooser. You're not here to prove you're worth the spark or to cling to someone just because the attraction is strong. Your role is to evaluate whether this man actually earns a place in your life. Does he respect your boundaries? Does he invest as much energy into the relationship as you do? Does he share your vision for the future? Those questions reveal compatibility. And when you focus on those answers instead of chasing butterflies, you regain your power. Because a man who's truly right for you won't just excite you, he'll also ground you, reassure you, and make you feel safe to be fully yourself. The real difference between chemistry and compatibility is longevity. Chemistry is instant, it's the spark that ignites quickly. Compatibility is enduring. It's the steady flame that keeps burning even when life isn't glamorous. Imagine building a fire. Chemistry is the match that starts it, but compatibility is the wood and oxygen that keep it alive. If you only chase sparks, you'll keep relighting matches, but the fire will never last. If you want lasting love, you need to look beyond the thrill and ask, do we have what it takes to sustain this over time? Love that lasts isn't built on fireworks, it's built on trust, consistency, and mutual effort. Here's the empowering truth. You don't have to choose between chemistry and compatibility, you can have both. But the right way to get there is to stop letting chemistry dictate all your choices. Let chemistry draw you in, but let compatibility decide if you should stay. This means observing actions, not just words. It means paying attention to how he makes you feel long-term, not just in the exciting moments. When you learn to separate the rush of attraction from the reality of who someone is, you step into your power. You stop settling for sparks that fizzle and start building a love that actually lasts. And that's when you discover a man who gives you butterflies and a safe place to land, too. Stay curious, not committed. When you first meet someone new, it's tempting to throw yourself headfirst into the connection. The excitement of fresh chemistry, the thrill of possibility, and the validation of someone's interest can make you feel like you've already found something real. But here's the shift you need to make. The early stage of dating isn't about proving your devotion, it's about staying curious. Instead of asking, how do I make this person like me? Ask, who is this person really? Curiosity protects you from rushing into fantasy. It grounds you in reality and keeps you from handing your heart over to someone who hasn't earned it yet. Curiosity is powerful because it keeps you present instead of projecting into the future. Too many people meet someone they like and immediately start building a story in their head. What the relationship will look like, how perfect they'll be together, maybe even imagining marriage before they truly know the person. That's not dating, that's daydreaming. When you stay curious, you slow down and allow yourself to see the real man in front of you instead of clinging to the version you created in your imagination. You give yourself the gift of clarity because curiosity asks questions while commitment too soon makes assumptions. Think about it this way: curiosity is about gathering information, while premature commitment is about making an investment without knowing the return. If you pour all your energy, attention, and affection into someone before you understand their values, their patterns, or their consistency, you risk attaching to an idea, not reality. That's why so many people feel blindsided when someone pulls away. They weren't really in love with the person, they were in love with the potential. Curiosity prevents this trap. It says, I'm interested, but I'm still observing. I don't need to lock this down before I know what's true. When you lead with curiosity, you become a chooser, not a chaser. Instead of scrambling to secure the connection, you watch and evaluate, does this person respect your time? Do they follow through on their word? Do they share your vision of what they want? Curiosity gives you the power to filter because you're not invested in proving your worth. You're invested in discovering theirs. The man who deserves you will reveal himself through his actions, not through promises. And by staying curious, you give him the space to show you who he really is. Rather than rushing to label something before it's proven, staying curious also protects your energy. When you overinvest too soon, you make someone else the center of your emotional world before they've even earned that role. Every text, every response time, every small action suddenly feels monumental. That's exhausting. Curiosity takes the pressure off. It allows you to enjoy the moment, to experience the joy of getting to know someone without attaching your entire self-worth to whether they lean in or pull back. You're not testing them, but you're also not attaching your peace of mind to their behavior. You're simply learning, and learning keeps you powerful. There's a beauty in reminding yourself discovery is exciting in itself. The early stages of dating should feel like fun and exploratory, not heavy with expectation. You don't owe anyone devotion just because they gave you butterflies. Your loyalty belongs to someone who has proven over time that they are safe, consistent, and ready for a real relationship. Until then, your only job is to stay curious, to observe, to enjoy, to ask yourself, does this person's reality align with what I truly want? That question protects your standards while allowing you to remain open to connection. The truth is, love built on curiosity first is the strongest love, because when you stay curious long enough, you allow compatibility to reveal itself naturally, you give space for character to show up, you let time do the work of exposing whether this person is truly aligned with your values. Curiosity doesn't block love, it filters it. It ensures you don't commit your heart to someone who was only meant to be a chapter, not the whole book. So the next time you feel yourself rushing in, pause and breathe. Stay curious. Keep your power, because the right person won't just inspire curiosity, they'll earn your commitment through action, not attraction alone. 3. Match effort. Don't overcompensate. When you like someone, it's easy to give everything you've got up front. You text first, plan dates, and constantly show up, even when their effort is minimal. But here's the truth. When you overcompensate, you don't inspire someone to step up. You train them to do less. You carry the relationship while they enjoy the ride. A healthy connection isn't about one person pushing all the weight uphill. It's about two people meeting in the middle. Love should feel like a dance, not a marathon where one person is dragging the other to the finish line. Think of effort as a mirror. The way someone invests in you should reflect back how you choose to invest in them. If they show up with consistency, kindness, and follow through, you match that energy. But if they're only giving 30%, you don't pour out 100% hoping it will change them. You adjust your effort accordingly. This isn't about playing games. It's about protecting your self-worth. Giving more than someone has earned doesn't create closeness, it creates imbalance. And imbalance always leads to resentment, because love feels draining when you're the only one pouring. Overcompensating often comes from fear of losing them, fear of not being enough, fear that if you don't hold the relationship together, it will fall apart. But here's the hard truth. If a relationship can't survive unless you do all the work, then it's not the right relationship. The right man won't need you to chase, to beg, or to convince. He'll meet you where you are. When you stop overcompensating, you give him the chance to reveal his true level of interest. If he steps up, great. If he doesn't, you've just saved yourself from wasting more energy on someone who was never all in. Matching effort is also about standards. When you refuse to carry the entire relationship, you're saying, I deserve reciprocity. I deserve someone who gives as much as I give. That's not being demanding, that's being discerning. High-value women don't audition for love by over-delivering. They allow men to show whether they're capable of contributing. If you do everything, you rob yourself of seeing his true character. Effort reveals intention. If he's not willing to invest, that's not your cue to try harder. That's your cue to step back. Relationships thrive on balance. Imagine a dance floor, one partner leads, the other follows, but both are engaged, both are moving together. That's harmony. But if one person is dancing with full passion and the other is barely moving, the connection breaks down. Overcompensating turns the dance into a chase, and chases are exhausting. Real intimacy comes when both people are moving toward each other with equal desire, equal effort, and equal commitment. If you're always sprinting to keep the connection alive, you'll never have the space to feel chosen, valued, or safe. One of the most empowering shifts you can make is this: don't reward low effort with high investment. If he sends half-hearted messages, don't respond with novels. If he cancels plans, don't scramble to reschedule. Your energy is precious, and when you pour it into someone who doesn't match it, you deplete yourself. Instead, save that energy for a man who shows up consistently. The man who truly wants to be with you will not make you wonder if you're enough. He'll prove it by investing just as much as you do. Effort isn't something you should beg for. It's something you should expect. At the end of the day, love is a partnership, not a project. You're not responsible for carrying someone who won't walk beside you. When you match effort, instead of overcompensating, you maintain balance, respect, and clarity. You'll never feel undervalued because you're only giving where effort is reciprocated. And that's how you filter the wrong men from the right ones. The wrong man will drain you, but the right man will dance with you, step for step, hand in hand. Protect your energy, honor your standards, and remember, real love doesn't need rescuing, it needs reciprocity. 4. Pace your vulnerability. Vulnerability is one of the most beautiful parts of intimacy. It's what transforms a surface-level interaction into a real connection. But here's the mistake many people make: they lay their entire heart on the table too soon. thinking it will accelerate closeness. In reality, oversharing too quickly doesn't create intimacy, it creates imbalance. Vulnerability is most powerful when it's layered, shared gradually, and matched by the other person's investment. When you pace your openness, you protect your heart while still allowing space for connection to grow naturally. Think of vulnerability like peeling an onion. If you strip away all the layers at once, you'll overwhelm not only yourself, but also the other person. But when you reveal yourself slowly, with intention, you give someone the chance to earn trust and to demonstrate whether they're capable of holding that trust with care. The right man won't push you to overshare or demand your deepest secrets after 2 dates. Instead, he'll make you feel safe enough to open up bit by bit in your own time. That's how true emotional intimacy is built, not through speed, but through consistency. Pacing your vulnerability also creates space for reciprocity. When you share in layers, you give the other person room to meet you halfway. Intimacy isn't just about you revealing yourself, it's about both of you creating a rhythm of exchange. You share a little, he shares a little. You reveal more, he meets you there. That balance is what builds trust. If you pour everything out at once, you rob yourself of the ability to see if he's even capable of opening up in return. Vulnerability without reciprocity isn't intimacy, it's exposure. Another reason to pace your vulnerability is self-respect. When you give someone access to your deepest emotions too soon, you risk attaching before you've truly evaluated their character. You mistake chemistry for safety and attraction for trust. By holding back and sharing gradually, you give yourself time to watch their consistency, their integrity, and their capacity to care. It's not about withholding or playing games. It's about honoring yourself enough to say, my heart is valuable, and I don't hand it over to just anyone who asks. Oversharing too quickly often comes from a place of fear. Fear that if you don't reveal everything, they'll lose interest. Fear that you have to prove your openness to be chosen. But here's the truth: the right man doesn't need you to bare your soul on day one. He values the process of getting to know you, layer by layer, story by story. Pacing vulnerability isn't about hiding who you are, it's about allowing the relationship to breathe, to unfold, and to grow stronger at a natural pace. That's what makes it lasting. The beauty of pacing your vulnerability is that it gives you power. Instead of rushing into emotional intimacy and then regretting it when he doesn't match your energy, you remain grounded. You observe. You let the connection reveal itself over time. Vulnerability becomes a gift you offer when it feels earned, not a tool you use to force closeness. And because it's shared with discernment, it carries more weight. A man who earns your trust will treasure it. A man who doesn't will simply fade away, and you'll be glad you didn't give him more than he deserved. At the end of the day, the right relationship doesn't rush. It doesn't demand your soul before you're ready to share it. It invites you to be open at a pace that feels safe and authentic. Vulnerability is beautiful, but only when it's balanced with wisdom. Share in layers, honor your own timing, and remember, the man who's truly right for you won't be scared off by patience. He'll appreciate it because he's not looking for intensity, he's looking for something real. And real love is built step by step, not all at once. 5, flip the question. So many women fall into the exhausting cycle of asking, how can I keep him interested? They analyze texts, change their behavior, and bend themselves into shapes they were never meant to fit. But here's the truth: the real power comes when you flip the question. Instead of trying to win over his interest, ask yourself, do I even want the kind of attention he's giving me? That shift moves you from the role of the auditioning actress to the role of the casting director. Suddenly, you're not chasing approval, you're deciding if his behavior matches your standards. When you stay stuck in the mindset of trying to hold someone's attention, you give away your power. Every slow reply feels like rejection, every crumb of affection feels like a prize. But when you flip the question, you stop measuring your worth by his behavior. You start evaluating him, not yourself. You ask, is his effort consistent? Does he make me feel safe and valued? Or am I constantly anxious, waiting for him to choose me? The moment you begin filtering like this, you reclaim control of your love life. Flipping the question also forces you to look at the bigger picture. If you're constantly worrying about keeping him interested, It means his attention is inconsistent. And inconsistency is not a sign of great love, it's a sign of uncertainty. A man who's genuinely invested won't make you fight for scraps. He'll show you his interest clearly and steadily. By asking, "Do I even want this kind of attention?" you prevent yourself from romanticizing mixed signals and instead demand the kind of clarity that real love provides. Think of it this way. Every time you worry about keeping him interested, you're subconsciously putting him on a pedestal. You're saying his attention is the prize, but the truth is your time, energy, and love are the real prizes. When you flip the question, you stop chasing and start choosing. You look at his actions and ask, is this the kind of relationship I want to build? Is this the level of effort I deserve? That's how high value women operate, not by proving themselves, but by protecting their standards. One of the biggest benefits of this mindset shift is emotional peace. When you stop obsessing over his every move and instead focus on what you want, anxiety begins to fade. Instead of replaying texts or overthinking gaps in communication, you evaluate calmly, does this behavior align with my vision of love? If it doesn't, you move on without drama. Peace comes from clarity, and clarity comes from asking the right question. The wrong question keeps you trapped. The right one sets you free. This shift also strengthens your self-worth. When you flip the question, you stop seeing yourself as someone who has to earn love. You stop believing you need to perform, prove, or persuade. Instead, you remind yourself that you're the one who decides who gets access to your heart. The man who's right for you doesn't need to be convinced. He shows up with consistency, respect, and effort. And when you filter through that lens, you'll naturally attract someone who values you without conditions. At the end of the day, love isn't about clinging to attention. It's about discerning whether that attention is even worthy of you. Flipping the question is the fastest way to break free from chasing, overanalyzing, or settling for less than you deserve. It puts you back in the driver's seat where you belong. So the next time you catch yourself wondering, how can I keep him interested? Pause and ask instead, do I even want what he's offering? Because when you start choosing instead of chasing, you stop surviving on crumbs and start demanding the feast you truly deserve. Closing CTA. So if you've been worried about investing too quickly, remember this. Attraction is easy, but alignment takes time. Don't rush to give all of yourself to someone who hasn't shown they're ready to meet you there. Protect your energy, pace your heart, and choose the man who proves he's worth the investment. If this message resonated with you, like this video, subscribe to Love Logic Official, and share it with a friend who needs this reminder today, because you deserve a love that excites you and fulfills you.